This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after this show.
Don't drink the faucet.
We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, hi, my name is Peter. Yeah, I want. Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on.
He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
That's right, folks. It is Yabba Dabba Doo. It's showtime. Wednesday, right here. How the hell is everybody? I hope everybody is doing fine during all these times, life that we go through. Speaking of life, thank you for tuning in and watching Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show. Every Wednesday like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast, God willing. And I mean that. I do. Because I was just talking a few minutes ago about how things can be really great and how things can like just kick you right in the head and wake you up and say, don't get too comfortable. But I am grateful. And I'm grateful for those of you who tune in and watch. We got a great show tonight. We do. Tonight. Where am I? Tonight I'm bringing back a guest that I brought on the show about a year ago. I don't think it's quite a year yet. It just happens to be the timing that we're doing this, but I think it's about a year ago. But we were talking for months and months prior to that, probably from the spring. And she called or she kept writing me. She kept finding me on all the different platforms and sending me messages. And it's like, because she saw me interviewing somebody else, and I guess she was a fan of the somebody else. Who was it? Carol, my favorite lesbian. Carol. She's the OG. I have lots of favorites. I mean, I love everybody, but I just brought her on because she was like, in my mind, I just want to bring some practicality and some common sense into, onto my show, talking about that world, because the past 4 years have been just, and we're going to talk about it. They were just nuts, shoving, pride down your throat. The Dodgers had to wear rainbows on their friggin' baseball uniforms. And I was like, I don't know. I don't care how much money I make. Fire my ass. I don't mind. I am we're going to talk about it. But either way, so she found me because she's a lesbian and she's married, and she's another one of the ones that are like common sense. We just want to be people. We just have a different sexual preference. Okay, cool. But she kept finding me, and I get a lot of things, and so finally I saw it. I don't read a lot of comments because there's too many sometimes. We're on a gazillion different platforms. And I finally saw her thing, and then they started all showing up once I started looking. But she said, I want to be on your show. And it's like, all right, well, let's talk first. I always have to talk to somebody. I want to know why you want to be on my show. Why me? And finally, I think that was a challenge, just getting to get on the phone, because she had things going on in her life, and, life is busy. But we finally did it. And she talked to me. I said, okay, you know what? All right. Because, again, it takes determination to do anything in life. And she was determined. She kept on, I said, get in touch with me. And she kept up with everything I asked her to do. And I know I'm getting to the point, so bear with me. Because it's more about, again, life with Peter G. We're talking about life and how you get things and how you don't get things. And she kept up with me. And I finally said, she says, I want to be on your show. I'm thinking about starting a podcast and this and that. But I want to talk about the things you were talking about with Carol. And I said, okay, cool, we'll do it. We had a great show that time that was her first. I've done a lot of firsts with people. I mean, people that are doing, really big, and now they're doing really well, but you got to start somewhere. And I needed to start somewhere at times. And so one hand washes the other, as my father used to say. Never forget that saying. And now I told her, I said, if you continue, because again, the whole thought of having a show and all that, it's all fine and dandy. Just like who doesn't want to be a rock star, right? Until you start doing it and find out that they don't say 1 in a million for nothing. It's a bitch. And there's a lot of sacrifice. And even still, if you go to school to be a brain surgeon, if you do your classes, you do everything you're supposed to do, you're going to be a brain surgeon. Easy breezy. This kind of work, not so much. There's no guarantee in anything. So it takes a lot of determination and a lot of thick skin. And, you know, I don't blame people if they drop out. I want to quit every day, but I just can't. I can't, because this is me. So she's going to be on our show tonight. Who have I been tagging you along on? Vikki from Voices with Vikki is going to be on this show. Did that take long enough, right? But I had to explain things about life first, because she has hung in there. She's been on doing her podcast for a year now, easily. And we're going to talk to her. I want to know, because I also know that when you start out with an idea, sometimes you got to learn that things don't always go the way you want them to go. I definitely know that. And you have to learn how to alter and adjust and just keep on shifting. And I want to talk to her and see how she's progressed. And she's, again, you know, she was really predominant about talking about the LGBT. And at the time it was Q plus MOUSE. And, you know, how she hated all that shit. And she just wants everybody to just like chill out and be normal. We're going to see what she's doing now. She's going to be on this show in a few minutes coming up after that long introduction. But again, very necessary. Vikki, host of Voices with Vikki, is going to be on this show in a few minutes. And I know it's going to be a lot of fun because she's easy to talk to. And that's it. So stick around. In a few minutes, she'll be up. I want to talk about next week real quick. This has been on my mind, and I just think it's so friggin'... Let's see what we got going on here. A lot of comments coming up already. They must be from her side. Yeah, look, oh, Liz. W. Baha, Liz, we are live. Look at this. She's got fan club already. She's got a fan club. We are live. Voice with Vikki. That's Vikki. We are live. Very good. Good to know. Good to know. Look, you get it. Get it, girl. Do it, lady. Oh, yeah. Let's see. I like comments. I love comments. The good and the bad. Yep, I even got one over here. Hello, Peter G. Steven. What's up, brother? Thank you for chiming in. I love comments. I'll get to that next week. I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time, because to me, this is and I keep forgetting because it's so under the radar. But next week, I think I'm going to talk about Bill Gates. That name ring a bell? Bill Gates, Microsoft Bill Gates. Bill Gates, who's got his hands in everything, putting chemicals into all our foods that we eat now, owns more farmland in the United States than anybody else. Trying to, you know, he's pro depopulation. I mean, who the hell is this evil guy that is dictating, playing God? And I don't think we talk about him enough, and he just skates under the radar. I just found out he's just developed, or he's financed a new development on how to make butter without any products. Like you're eating, you know, how to take plastic and turn it into butter, and it tastes just like butter and all this. I mean, stuff that will kill you. The guy that claims that, we shouldn't be eating meat because of the methane that cows produce. Cows don't fart, people. They don't fart. But he's got you believe in this stuff. And I'm going to talk about Bill Gates next week. People who are not aware, or he's so quiet under the radar. He's one of the biggest problems with this world because of that thought process with the New World Order and the WHO, or all that stuff. So we're going to talk about him next week. That is August 27th. I want to talk about Bill Gates because we need to bring awareness that this guy is taking on the God, playing God with our lives. And I think that if you don't know about him, you need to know about him because he's evil. It's a quiet, silent evil that is killing a lot of people. My opinion. Next week, August 27th. I'll talk real quick about last week. Last week, thank you for those who joined me on the 300th live show, celebration show. where we just kind of kicked back and had a little fun. I had fun. I just wanted to do stupid stuff and just breathe a little bit. And we did. I want to thank all the phone callers. Not. Nobody called. Nobody called. Well, you get used to it. I had the emails that say, man, sorry I didn't call. Sorry, I was going to call. I don't know. People get nervous. It's really weird. But what we got going on here? Anyway. Okay, so that's what we're doing. But I just wanted to thank everybody for, last week, because we made it to 300 shows. Actually, it's 400. I think this is the 440th show, because we used to record the shows and then put them up onto YouTube and things like that. And then when I went to live and went to Facebook Live, and then we started multi-streaming and all that, I started finally keeping count. So there's actually way more, all kind of topics. This show is all about life, which everything is in life. And I talk about everything. Just saying earlier, I may talk about this show tonight. We've got a lot of people who want to talk about this stuff, but for some people, it's not their cup of tea. And they like, the show I talked about with music, or when I talked about the Lahaina fires. But they're all important topics. You'll get something out of each one. So please subscribe. YouTube kills me. They take down my shows. They punish me. They're not letting the algorithms to where I get out and be seen. Help me to be seen by just going and hitting the subscribe button. It's free. It'll notify you when the show comes on. If you want to watch the show, you can. And if you miss the live show, you can just see any of the shows on demand. You can watch them whenever you want. There's shorts that come on into Instagrams and TikTok when they're not muting me and pulling down my shows on TikTok. All the shorts there, but we're on Facebook. If you're following on the official Peter G Show Facebook page, hit the like button. Just help me out. Let's build those numbers up, because I'm guilty of it myself. I watch a lot of people and I don't subscribe and follow. People need that. We need that. I know that there's a way bigger audience than what is perceived with the numbers. And I'm okay with that. But until I go to the bean counters and they look at me and they go, what's the numbers look like on your show? And it's like, well, it's kind of complicated. I love you guys, and I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time. I know it's not easy. Let's see what we got. Here's another one. It's is it Wednesday? Shout out to the Peter G Show. Thank you, brother. There you go. Another faithful viewer. That's what it takes. I know it's not easy. These shows are long. You got to take time out of your life, but it's worth it once you get to understand what's going on. So please do that. All right. What else we got going on? We don't. All right, listen, here's what we got to do. We need to, let me find it. I need to hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver, and then we're going to bring Voices with Vikki and the whole person in general, Vikki from Voices with Vikki, in just a few minutes. But first, we're going to hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their DX1 driver. Let's face it, good stuff. Be back in a minute.
Hello, it's Tyrone Thompson here with Clean Star Products, and we're here with William.
High-end car service.
And we've just serviced his Cadillac Escalade 2024. And we're going to be giving it a go to see what kind of results he'll be getting in his fuel mileage and any performance differences, and be checking with him later.
All right.
Thank you, William, for participating in our environmental program. We're here with High-End Car Services, my friend William, who's been using DX1 for a small time now. What kind of results have you been getting?
Up to 45.1 miles per gallon best results, and the engine has been quieter, and I can definitely feel the power in the engine. I have a diesel.
Thank you so much. We're going to keep going with the program and check in with you later. We appreciate you. The Long Life Engine Program with DX1 Driver is the only safe environmental product for your high-mileage engine. DX1 is a non-toxic, clean-burning oil that goes into your fuel and your engine oil, providing lubricity for gasoline and diesel engines. You save on average 10% gasoline and 15% diesel fuel consumption. Call now for a price quote and place your order today It's the Long Life Engine program from Clean Star Products and Tyrone Thompson.
That's right, folks. Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver. 2 words. It works. Peace. Because it gives you peace. Peace of mind knowing that your motor's going to run as best as it can, save you money in fuel, repairs, more lubricity. Let's face it, everything runs better when it's slicked up, lubed up, less friction, all the above, you know. And again, it's really simple. One of these little bottles like this. This services a 4-door, your average 4-door sedan right here. You pour this into a clean oil change. When you get your oil change, pour this bottle in, lasts the whole oil change right there. This was that 5,000 miles, 10 if you own a Mercedes or whatever. And then every time you fill up your tank, you pour one of these little bottles in, okay? And if you have a pickup truck or SUV, a bigger vehicle, the bottle is just a little bit bigger than this because the gas, the fuel tank size is bigger, the engine is bigger, all the above. I drive a V8, so I need the bigger bottle because Bentley only makes V8s and V12s. Now, I don't own a Bentley, but I was just saying that because I can. Either way, you pour it in, it works. But again, you don't believe me, what you need to do is call them. They're easy. Go to www.cleanstarproducts. Look, I'll put the number right up there for you, right there, 310-200-8931. You got questions, they will answer your questions personally. They have a product that works, and they're proud of it. And here's the kicker, because if you do call them and ask them, and should you decide to order, you got to mention that you saw it on the Peter G Show, all right? And plus, there's all kinds of information on the website. It tells you everything. But you mentioned you saw it on the Peter G Show. They will send you 5 bottles for the price of 4. 5 for the price of 4. A deal's a deal. And let me tell you why this is a great starter kit. Because you get 5 bottles for the price of 4 by mentioning that you saw it on the Peter G Show. 1 goes into the oil change, and that gives you 4 full tanks of fuel. And you will notice the difference by the time you go through those 4 full tanks. I noticed the difference probably within my 3rd tank. And then for maintenance, all you do is pour one of these in. You can do it weekly or every tank that you need, or every other fuel tank. Anything is better than nothing. Good food, good body. That's the only way I can really explain it. Because if you take care of your car, you're not going to break down as much. Cars are expensive. Freaking hate. I used to be into it, fancy this and fancy that. I don't care anymore because I hate spending money on something that it's a constant loser. But you got to have a car, and you want to keep your car running good because you don't want to keep it in the repair shop. This is one way how to do it. Again, it's just like eating clean, all right? Call them. Ask them questions. And if you order, mention that you saw it on the Peter G Show. I'm telling you, can't go wrong. It's nothing but up from here, all right? That's it, all right. Let's take a sip. How's everybody doing? I see. Let me check things real quick here. Let's see. Wednesday shout out. Oh wait, I got another one. The Gulf Pensacola in the house. I love Pensacola. Thanks, brother. Pensacola in the house. It's a good place. A lot of fun there. Great beaches. Beautiful people. Liz is. Let's see. We got Liz. Liz is on fire. This is a boy. She must trying to find one that will. Oh, she's commenting on all the Bill Gates stuff I was talking about. Hang on, Liz. We'll get there. That's next week. Believe me, I'll bring it to the table. I don't hold back. I need people to know, to wake up and not stop living under a rock. But okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's take a drink first, as always. Thanks to all my viewers and listeners. I love you guys. I truly do. Don't forget to subscribe, share, share, share. Can't love me or hate me if you don't know I exist. All right, here you go. Salute. No. Smooth. Ah, yes. Yes, that's tasty. Okay. So, as promised, I said that I was going to bring host of the Voices with Vikki podcast. She's anxiously awaiting in the wings, if she hasn't left me by now. But, sorry, I'm just looking things over here before we because we're getting ready to go full steam ahead. And anyway, so without further ado, She was on the show last year. I promised her that I'd bring her on 1 year later, should she still be in the scene. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, she is in the scene. So without further ado, from someplace in the United States, she's got her own podcast called Voices with Vikki, where she has, again, she's constantly evolving, and we're going to let her talk about it. But she talks about things that a lot of people don't want to talk about and brings a valid point to all of them. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen, the voice of Voices with Vikki and the person within Voices with Vikki, Vikki. Ta-da! Yay, you want some hand claps too? See, there's a face with that voice of Vikki.
I guess so.
Yeah. How's Vikki?
I guess that's the thing. I am doing really well, Peter. I'm doing really well, and I am very, very happy to be back here a year later, almost to the date. I don't remember exactly when we first met up and how all of this happened, but yeah, it's been about a year.
I think it's still a week or two away, but it's just about a year. And this is how we planned it out, and it's like whatever, it all worked. You know, I might not be exact, but we're here.
From what I recall, I was in New York in June of last year, and I had a hell of a time when I was there. We won't get into any of that. And you had called me from when I was in the airport, and you were like, yeah, you know, I want to do the show, and then can we do it during Pride Month? Because I had mentioned Pride Month and the shit show it was going to be. And so I'm kind of thinking it might have been June, but I might be wrong. I don't know. I've forgotten now. So
I have to go look it up again. I literally go to bed at night, think of something, and get up out of bed, because if I don't do it right then and there, I'm going to wake up in the morning and just completely forget what I think about. And I was going to look it up. I wanted to review the old show a little bit, but again, it's in my head for the most part. I just said, you know what, we're going to review through you. You're going to tell me how it's going, and you know how the ups and downs, the difficulties, the fun stuff, the not so fun stuff, all of that. But you did make it, and I told you if you stay on, which, God, if I had a nickel for everybody told me that they're going to do a killer show and be around, you know, I get it, but you're still here.
Yeah, and it's been, you know, it's interesting. You were saying how, you know, I've had the podcast for a year, and I've had it a little longer than a year, and I got to thinking about this. It's actually been almost 2 years since my first public appearance. I first appeared on the Buck Angel show in September of 23.
I remember you telling me that. See, I thought I was your first. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. No, but you know what? You were my first live.
Yeah. Live is live.
Yeah, exactly.
Live is live. I mean,
live is a little different. Live is a little more grueling.
Well, yeah, whatever happens. I mean, like I said, but the thing is, you started out, and we talked about, like, even after, I believe after the show, we had conversations about what you need to kind of do, or, you know, this and that to get, because it's kind of a process, and it's ever changing as well. So, and you've hung in there.
Yeah, no, I have. And it's one of those things that I had thought about doing for a long time, and I just didn't have either the right headspace for it at the time, or whatever was going on in my life, I pushed it aside. And there was something about when I moved cross country that changed my mind about a lot of things. And I thought, you know what, this is my opportunity. And I had been a fan of Buck Angel for a long time, and several others too. And there was something that he said on one of his shows that spoke to me. And I reached out to him 2 years ago and said, because he was doing all kinds of interviews with all kinds of different people. And I thought, oh, wow, that is so cool. He interviews everyday people about LGBT topics. And boy, do I have a lot to say about that. So I emailed him. He got back to me. I remember being terrified because I'd never done anything like this before. It's not for everybody. Like you were saying, you know, people get into this and then they're like, what the hell was I thinking? You know, and I definitely felt that way going into it. And what am I saying? I still feel that way sometimes, honestly. But I did that interview, and then things just opened up after that. And I've made about 5 guest appearances on his show since then. and it opened up avenues to meeting other people. I've expanded into TikTok a little bit, just kind of being a guest. There's a gentleman named The Middle Gay over on TikTok. It's fabulous. You got to check him out on TikTok. He's a lot of middle ground based guy. And I've met so many wonderful, great people doing this. And that is what keeps me doing it, if I'm being honest with you. Plus, I've learned a lot.
Well, okay, but that was the whole thing. It's like why I had you on the show, because you saw a show that I did earlier with Carol, who is a self-pronounced, older lesbian, and she's very practical, and she's tired of all the crap that's ruining it for you guys. And I'm into talking about all these things because we're all here together, and bullshit is bullshit. I don't care what side or what team you play on or whatever, but there's stupid stuff going on in every genre, every make, model, and all of the above. And I said, okay, number one, I'll let you come on because you really kept, you just kept, I just felt like this girl's got something she wants to say. So,
I'm persistent. I am persistent. Yeah. When I want something, I go for it. Yeah, that is true. 100%.
Good. When I'm tracking down guests, that's the same thing. Sometimes it's hard to reach people and they go, God, you were really persistent. I go, well, you didn't say no. So if you didn't say no, it's it's still a yes in my mind. And I just have to, so I did look, the sitting on the couch isn't going to get you nowhere. It's that simple. So the thing is, so you came on, but you want to start a show talking. And again, it's a very categoric, avenue to go down. You're talking about the gay and lesbian community and all that. And so it's a very narrow, top thing to go. But then I'm watching you because, again, life is really pretty complicated in our daily current events. And you started now dabbling in that as well. And, you really start, it's bad enough, like I said, we're going to go after and start separating the trans and this and that, pissing people off. And now we're going after, current events, which is something I'm very familiar about. And you start dividing your audience because they're either going to love you or hate you, but you just want them to listen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And when you talk about current events, there was so much. After the interview that we did last year, I mean, we were right in the middle of presidential race, and nobody knew what was going to happen there.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen, and so much divide in my life. I already thought it was bad, but I mean, it down to even a personal level, people were at each other's throats about the election at the time. And it was even difficult for me because I was never somebody that was like, oh, I love Trump. He's the best thing ever. But I also knew that there was so much baloney going on the Democrat side that I was like, I don't think we have a choice anymore, guys. Plus, I was starting to see that I was being lied to by the left about a lot of things and manipulation in the media. And I had stepped away from that and started to be more practical about doing research, about making sure I wasn't only listening to one side of the conversation and trying to be a little bit more nuanced. So after the election, I mean, well, we all know how it turned out. People went nuts. There were people, especially in the LGBT space, that thought they were going to die. They were going to go into concentration camps. I mean, they were really saying these things, and they really were spreading it around the internet. And I remember saying to some people at the time, I'm like, this is really sick that we are poisoning our youth to the point where we have these people, not me, but these people have our youth thinking they're going to die because of this, or thinking they're going to be stripped of their rights. And it bothered me so much because I want to set a good, solid example for young people that might be gay or whatever. And a good example as far as like what our American values actually are and what the Constitution is actually about. So it came full circle for me, and I've just never been prouder either to be an American. I'm like, you know what? Maybe, I don't love everything Trump does, but you know what? I like to stick to being logical, rational, knowing, and believing in our constitutional rights, and that, things are going to pan out okay. It's going to be okay. Even if something bad happens, there's always a way back because this is America,
Look, if anything, I just say at least he gets up and does something. and it's not just all
Yeah.
talk, whether you agree or disagree. You know,
Right.
even yesterday, he's like talking to all the foreign leaders that were sitting there in front of his desk, you know, that came from for Zelensky and all that. And the thing was, those people got up after the meeting was over. He says, "Okay, we'll we'll talk about this within the next few months." And he looked at them and he says, "Next few months?" He says, "Tonight, people are
Yes.
dying tonight." See, so that's what I like. And again, but when you're brainwashed, and I never believed in brainwashing, but I never thought the media would be. That's why it's so hard to turn people around, because we learn to trust the television, and it's been a slow mind, altering psyop that I never would have believed exists, but it exists. And and this is where we're at. And you got people, I mean, the chaos and let's go back a little bit. Last year, we were taught, because again, the gay pride thing was just being shoved down everybody's throats. We gotta have gay pride flags at the White House. We gotta have them in every school. I mean, all of a sudden now, everything is like silent and peaceful.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you explain it?
And it's like, not that I think we still need pride on some level? Sure, why not? The problem with it is that it's not what it was. It used to be just about marching for rights and having a weekend of celebration, It's turned into an entire month. And it's not about the LGB anymore. Everything is about gender identity, gender ideology, the queer community, which I hate that word. I think it's a slur. I don't know how it got introduced into the community as a normalized thing to say, but it did at some point. And that's a whole other, rabbit hole we can go down. And I think that what's happened is that they finally took it too far. I mean, during the Biden administration, they had, people taking off their tops on the White House lawn.
I know.
And it was like, what are you people thinking? Like, this is how you want to be. This is what represents us. This is how you want to be remembered. Like, no wonder people think that we're all psycho and crazy, because you're all acting psycho and crazy. So it really, I think if anything, when Trump came out on day one and said, guess what, guys, there's only two sexes, that was probably the best thing that could have happened. I mean, hey, if you're offended by that, oh well, but it's just the truth, man, Like, we just gotta live with it.
Well, again, I just, everybody was buckling to the pressure of it's just like when the him, her, him, he, haw, and all the pronouns came in.
Yes.
All of a sudden, I'm looking on my LinkedIn pages, and everybody's putting these pronouns on there because they wanted to go with the flow, to be, to make it to where it's like all good. I'm going, this is stupid. This is really friggin' stupid. And I mean, and all of a sudden now things are like, I just said earlier, the Dodgers had to wear rainbows on their uniforms, and it's just not necessary. It's like, you can be whatever you want to be, but now again, when you're right, the queer or whatever, it's just like punk rock. It's like you got your rock and rollers, and then you got punk rock, the people that have to stand out, out of protest or whatever you want to call it, activists, so to speak, to shove it down people's throats, and it's just not necessary. It ruins it. You got the calm people, the people are just great musicians, and they just play great music, and that's what it's all about. But then you got the other ones that, demand that you pay attention, because, they're going to shove it in your face. But it got so quiet now. Daddy came home and took office, and he's, everybody's like, we're going to be in jail. He's going to kill us all, and this and that. It's like, who thinks this crap up and believes it? How can you believe this stuff? And it's like, I don't see any, I haven't heard anything about any gays being put in. I saw it earlier on these, some of these comments, no concentration camps, no gays being persecuted, just be gay and shut up. This is simple.
And then this is the thing, is that, and I may have talked about this last year, and I've talked about it a great deal on my own channel, is that Obergefell versus Hodges, when all of that came down back in 2015, we were ready to pack up and go home. And the majority of us did, because at that point it was like, we don't need to do anything else. We achieved the one thing that we really, really wanted, plus all the other rights with workplace rights, things about hospitalization, things about adoption rights. Like we had it all, right? So we went home, but there were a lot of other people standing in the wings that wanted to infiltrate after that and sort of glob on to the community as a whole. And they did, and they hijacked it. And it went right into the queer theory stuff, right into the gender ideology stuff. They did it in such a way that it snuck up a lot of on the LGBT people. And, you know, we were still riding the wave, I think, of being like, yes, we did it. We achieved the rights we wanted. This is great. And then right behind us was this other group that said, oh, no, but what about us? We have to keep fighting. And we said, oh, well, what do you mean? And they said, no, you know, they're after the trans community now. And, you know, everybody in the LGBT community knows somebody that's a transsexual, right? They're in every city, you know, but it's a rare thing, but they're there. And I think everybody thought, well, geez, well, if they're doing that to them, you know, we don't want what happened to us to happen to them too. So we all jumped on board, I think, initially thinking it was for some good cause, but then it just got totally out of control. You know, and I can't speak for everybody. I think there were people that knew from the jump that the gender ideology, self-ID thing was bad, and that was the slippery slope. Some like to say that it is same-sex marriage that was the slippery slope, but usually people that say that are on the right side of things, and they don't understand the full scope of what a marriage equality was even about, because they weren't in that fight, you know. So they like to sit there and say, oh, it's all because of same-sex marriage. But I'm like, no. You only know part of the story. And the real danger is the queer theory stuff. And that's where it got crazy. So
I think it's, you know, you're like kind of sticking up because it's like a cousin of yours, and, you know, and it's a misunderstood cousin. And it's like, well, we kind of need to stick up for them because they're kind of, you know, we're family. It's kind of in the same bloodline, so to speak. I mean, genre. And then you find out your cousin's just retarded, and there ain't no way, you know. and you know, this is like, what did I do? I just got myself into a big old mess, sticking up for somebody who's just unstick-upable. You know, they refuse to be. You can be trans, but you can't be. But you know, you just need to be a normal trans if you can, you know, decipher the difference. It's like you just don't have to be blatantly, you know, calling everybody. You know, if you don't like me, you know, then you got a problem. Not everybody likes everybody. It's just the way it is. But you know, we can all get along. I don't, you know, but it was just when we were talking last year, it was again, everything was just so Bud Light, you know, and they're all these corporations caving, and I'm going, who's putting the pressure on these people, and you know, to say like, we got to do this, or we got to hire, you know, and DEI and all this kind of crap.
Yeah, and that's crumbled fairly quickly. I mean, the Bud Light thing really did it. And I'll be honest with you, at the time when the Dylan Mulvaney thing happened, I didn't realize just how bad that actually was. And I didn't really understand who Dylan Mulvaney was either. You know, I think a lot of people assume a lot of things about trans, right? And what happened was they came up with a new model called the affirmation model, gender affirming care. And so if you say you're trans, then you're trans. Well, what does that do? That ignores comorbidities. It ignores other reasons that you might think that you're trans or might have an issue with something, right? And it also enables our healthcare system to be really lazy and to make a ton of money. So they put all these people on a conveyor belt and said, oh, you think you're trans? Here's your hormones. Oh, you think you're trans? And I'm not even kidding. It's not an exaggeration. It actually happened. And not only did they do that with people that were 18 plus, but then they started looking towards the kids. And that's when people started to say, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, they did it with the Jazz Jennings things on national television, by the way. And they said, oh, we're not transing kids. Oh, it's just an anomaly. Oh, it's not happening. And then they changed it to, oh, it's happening, but it's only happening a little. And then they changed it to, it's happening, F off, it's none of your business, save the trans kids. And that by then everybody was like, what do you mean? How can you take a prepubescent child and say that they're trans, or that they know that they're trans when they haven't even hit puberty? They don't have any life experience. They don't know anything about the world, and they change their mind about things daily.
taking away parental rights. I mean, you're looking for an ass whooping. You know, you're going to tell me, you're going to tell what's best for your kid. You know, when a kid, you can tell them blue is the best color in the world. And tomorrow you can tell them, you know what, green is the best color in the world. And they're going to believe it. They're kids. Adults are believing all this bullshit, let alone children.
Right. And there are even detransitioners that were full-grown adults that fell into this ideology and were convinced that they were trans, either because, you know, they were lesbians, so then they thought, oh, I must be trans because I like women, I'm actually a man inside. Like, you can be very easily convinced of it, and especially with how rabid that community is. If you so much as say for a second, like, oh, I think I might be trans, oh, well, then you probably are, you know, and then they yank you in. But as much as they yank you in, they are the first ones. When you say you don't think you are anymore, you have your doubts, or you say you're going to detransition, they push you out and they shut the door and they ridicule you, they shame you, they dehumanize you. It's actually become very cult-like in nature what's happened with that area of the community, which many people have severed themselves completely from it. So it's become LGB and transsexuals. And there's a difference between transsexuals and trans ideology, transgender stuff, you know. And the more experience I gained in talking to people about this subject, interviewing people about it, researching it, I realized that there were a lot of other things going on, disingenuous, insidious, horrible things that were not trans at all, but they were calling it trans, which has hurt actual transsexual people, which pisses me off because they do exist on some level. There are some out there. I mean, my friend Buck Angel is one of them. He's lived that way for over 30 years. He's a biological woman. But they've turned this into a circus. And it's devastating, actually, to watch. And it's hurt a lot of people.
It's kind of like business, you know. There's some way, there's a reason behind everything, but they sold it so well, as they've sold so much bullshit over these past 10 years. And again, I blame it all on media. You know, the media, if you say it long enough and you say it over and over and over, from this, you know, person saying it to that, you're going to believe it, whether it's true or not. You're going to believe it because everybody's saying it. So where's the real truth? You can't find the truth. Well, I mean, common sense, but you know, who's got that anymore?
Well, and you've got all these, like, you know, elitist woke celebrities that get out there and virtue signal like it's their job. And I literally think it is their job. I think they're being paid a lot of the time to go out there and say trans kids are real, save the trans kids, and la la la. And like every celebrity has a trans child as an accessory, you know. And it's like, if you look at it for what it really is, you know that that's phony, you know. But the thing is, a lot of people, if they're not paying full attention to it, or they live in this world where, oh, you just want to be nice and don't be judgmental and be accepting and loving. If you use those words, you know, it puts people like into submission. You know, like, you just need to be nice. Don't judge people. Don't be mean to people. And people kind of recoil and say, oh, okay. And they don't use any kind of critical thinking after that because they're afraid that they're going to be called a bigot or they're going to be judged if they speak up and use their instincts. You know, because a lot of this with the trans ideology is stripping people of their instincts. Don't believe your eyes and your ears.
I think that's with everything nowadays.
Yeah.
With everything. I mean, people are not saying things. They're thinking different, but they're afraid to speak up because of their job or because of, you know, they're afraid of what somebody's going to come lashing out at them. And this is the problem. They're all getting beaten into submission, even though they know it's wrong. The doctors with the jab were having to do things that a lot of them knew were not the way to go. And all I hear it from people. I go, dude, I'm totally with you, Peter. I just can't say anything because I don't want to start any problems. And that's how the problems start, because there's not enough people saying, shut the fuck up. You guys are just screwed up and you're screwing everybody up. That's my motto for this year, is like, people need to shut the fuck up when they don't, they don't know what they're talking about. Quit jumping the gun and start judging the minute you hear something on the news and going, see, I told you so. And 3 days later, it disappeared because it wasn't true. Shut the fuck up. How's that?
You're spot on. And I see it in LGBT. I see it in mainstream media. I see it with what's going on over in Israel and Gaza, with the Ukraine situation. People think they know what they're talking about just because they subjected themselves to what feels to them is real. But a lot of times it's propaganda, actual propaganda, and how do you tell the difference? Well, sometimes it takes a little time, and you have to actually slow down and not be impulsive. Because these days with the phone, you want to immediately, like when Elon Musk came out and made the gesture that was supposedly the Nazi gesture and all that. And oh my God, everybody went nuts the second they saw that freeze frame of him doing that. Yeah. And I just couldn't, I was like, I don't think that's what this is. But then those same people that are screaming about Nazis are also extremely anti-Semitic. And I'm like, what? Who are these people? Do they realize the hypocrisy in what they say?
The beauty of media is that there's tape and film of everybody from years ago. And then all of a sudden, Musk does the Roman, it was a Roman, salute or whatever you want to call it. And then there's pictures of Kamala doing it. There's pictures. I mean, it just, when you have your hand out, it just looks the same no matter how you look at it. And it's like another one of those, well, there's all your buddies doing the same thing. Once again, shut the fuck up. It's just stupid. And these are a lot of people that I see and know and love. And I just want to shake them. It's like, you need to take a big breath and chill the fuck out, because they're doing this to you and it's working, and nobody will believe that they're being brainwashed, because if they knew they were being brainwashed, they wouldn't be brainwashed. And I'm not saying everything I say is correct, and I tell everybody on my show, I'm just playing videos and things to point out to you that things are not what they seem. Take the information I give you and use it to your advantage, but most people won't take the time. They're just too busy. Headline reader and move on and bitch and complain about everything.
Yeah, and it's like, I've been wrong about things. I've been wrong about a lot. And it's things that I, 10 years ago, thought for sure that, I was 100% spot on about. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always something that you look back and you say, oh, geez, I can't believe I thought that, or I can't believe I bought into that situation or whatever. But not everybody is so willing to put their swords down. And I think with what's happened with this election is that the Democrats still are having a hard time self-reflecting and looking within their own party and looking within their own mistakes to figure out why the F they lost, and lost badly, by the way. And I told people, I said, she's not going to win. I knew it. I called it like the day once they did the switcheroo too, and took Biden out. Not that he was in any condition to run, but once they did the switcheroo, they took him out, put her in. I was like, this is going to be an interesting couple of months. Like, and she had no substance. I'll be honest with you, I voted for Biden in 2020. But I was cringing at the fact that he picked her for his running mate. I tried to like that woman, and I knew she just was terrible. She can't even hold a conversation. She can't do a long form interview like this. And she was the vice president of the United States, for crying out loud.
Well, then again, you're asking the Democrats to look within. It's like, what went wrong? It's like everything went wrong. They can't do nothing because they had a whole different agenda. And it was to destroy this country and line their pockets. And so I was a Democrat years ago, and I stopped being one. I go because I didn't like the Republicans, because it used to be it was for the wealthy. It's not really like that anymore. And they both have problems. But that side, the Democrats have gone crazy. And again, Trump can find the cure for cancer, and they're going to say, so what? So what? And I just feel like, but again, you say this to some people. I got people I'm very close with, and they freaking hate the orange man, and they just will not accept anything. And again, it's like this war in Ukraine, it's all making money for all the warmongers, and in the past it used to be the Bushes, the Republicans, with the wars and all that, making all that money with Halliburton and all these companies. But your average person doesn't pay attention to that stuff, and they just play on the heartstrings about the poor people in Ukraine. It's like, the United States started that friggin' war. It's real simple. And then Biden didn't do anything. He instigated it and didn't do anything to fix it. At least Trump is trying to get them together to talk. And now it's like he's Putin's puppet and all that. It's like, stop it. Stop it. It's the biggest bunch of bullshit.
It cracks me up because there's footage of Putin with George
everybody.
W. Bush. There's footage with Putin with Clinton, all snuggy together. I mean, come on. Like, you just got to look back in the history books a little bit and you'll see that this is nothing new. Trump is just very Trump. And some people, it rubs them the wrong way. And I get it.
I know, but they programmed everybody to hate him. Again, you look at the View, those bunch of yentas. Okay, but you look back at the old tapes, they're hugging and kissing him until he ran for office. Okay, so it just goes to show you, it's like, don't you get it? These people that loved him, all of a sudden they hate him. He hasn't changed. He hasn't changed a bit. But they, because again, he's doing things that goes against lining everybody's pockets. Everybody's bitching about that ballroom, that he wants to build it's $200 million to build the ballroom, which in the White House, they hold the dinners and things like that. I found out they have to set up tents to have these shindigs at the White House in the wintertime. So they're building, and all of a sudden you get the propaganda, and it's going, oh yeah, he wants to build a ballroom. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, the war is still going on. It's like and Social Security is getting cut. No money from us, we the people, is going towards that ballroom, but they don't want to tell you that. It's Trump is donating money of his own plus private donors to build a ballroom that's not even going to be there when he's in office. But they don't tell you that. It's all about the hate. Look, people are starving. He's cutting Social Security and Medicare, and he's building a $200 million ballroom. It's like, once again, everybody, shut the fuck up. I mean, just pay attention. I mean, seriously, because it's the bullshit is so deep, and the people are just truly feeling the hatred. I say it with some intensity, but I even the people that I disagree with, I will not cut them out of my life, because we have too many things and too many years and memories over this topic. And I totally get why they feel like they do, because they have fallen for that bullshit. Because they sold it so well. And now trying to get them out of that mindset, it's no easy task. Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, and it's one of these things that it's like, there's a difference between having all this TDS and having your criticisms of a president, right? There's been days I've looked at the television or watched a speech of his and said, what the hell is he saying that for? Or why is he talking like that? But then the next day I see that he signed off on something that I think is going to be good for the country. And I'm like, good, I'm glad we're doing that. That's good. That's great. You have to try to be objective a little bit, but I think people get really lost emotionally, and it's hard. It's hard. I get that it's hard, especially these days with the access we have to every little freaking thing. We're always attached to the phone, always attached to the internet. And I think that has eroded our society in a sense. And for those of us who are under the age of, say, 30, those people don't know what life was like before the internet. So people like you and me, I was probably one of the last generations to remember life without the internet and knowing that there's you can put it at a distance if you want. You can live without your phone, but the younger generation, they don't get it. They have no idea. They were born with the phone in their hand.
Oh, no. So, the 80s was great, because if there was a cell phone and the shit that I was doing in the 80s, I would have been in a lot of trouble a lot. There's just because, there was just instant contact and communications. Like, I would have never been able to do the shit that we did back then. And because it would all be on video. It's like, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's look, it's just so sad the way things are going. And I just I don't know. It's not an easy thing to fix, and at least like you got Trump every day. He's having these conferences. There's 90 million people in the Oval Office, the media, and he's openly talking, taking things on the fly. He can do that. That wasn't done over the last 4 years. There was nothing over the last 4 years, nothing. So you know what you get with him. Yeah, he does say some wild shit, but okay, But he does do something. At least he's doing something, and the internet now, that's what I want to talk to you about. It's the same thing, only different. This whole AI thing that's going on right now, the ads, I mean, not the ads, the people, I'm finding all these new people, like, let's take California, for instance, because, well, not even California, just everything about Trump and this and that. I can't go on Facebooks and or TikToks and what's the other one? Holy crap.
Instagram.
Thank you. There we go. I'm finding all these like people like you Trumpers and this and that, and then you look at the profile and there's 5 people, but they're real people talking, and I can discern the AI real people from the real people, but I'm finding a lot of real people. This whole thing with the bots now, and like you can buy 10,000 bot farms to do your propaganda. I mean, it's gonna get really, really out of control. I'm getting sick of seeing so much. They're doing head bashing. They're just pounding, negative thoughts about everything, and it's certain people going at it to try and destroy everything. But I mean, it's just grown, and this is going to be a big problem right now because they are just flooding the internet with negativity and all that, and it's all with this AI bot farm shit that I'm finding out now. Like even you or I can go and buy, if I want to raise the level of this show, I can buy the bot farm for rent one, and then you put up whatever you want to put up, and it's just going to flood everything. And this is where we're at. It's going to get bad before it gets better.
That, and I think even the AI, the fake imagery of things, we can still tell in a lot of instances that it's fake, but it's going to improve.
Yeah, some people.
Oh yeah, but it's going to improve and improve more and more to the point where people even have a good eye for it, or that are in this space a lot, like you and I, where we're not going to be able to decipher what's what, and that is really, really scary. There are people that have said to me that it's going to be the end of the world with that, because people are going to just see stuff and think it's real when it isn't.
Yeah, and you get people that, again, they look at it for a second and they immediately post it. And I'm looking at it and I write, this isn't real, right? And I hate saying that. I just don't want, because again, because in their minds, it feeds their soul to say, look, see, I told you, look. And it's just, it's bad enough when they do it with a bunch of bullshit, but now it's the fake bullshit. Not even the real people doing bullshit. Now it's fake people doing bullshit, and it's believable. And this is going to be a tough one. It's going to be really interesting. I mean, I do a lot of current event stuff now because I feel the need to try to keep people on their toes, to be aware, because there's a lot of people walking with blinders on, and those are the ones I'm trying to reach. The ones that are like way anti this or that, you can't. You just got to learn that they're never going to come around, and each has their own journey. And all I tell the haters that watch my show, if you're watching this show, then obviously you're a fan, bitch. And I mean, they're watching it because they need to be here. There's a reason why they're here, whether they love me or hate me. There's a reason why they're here, and that'll be determined. But I still don't dislike these people. I just feel like I feel they're dangerous. They're getting more and more dangerous because they're spewing out so much crap. But I just, in hopes that eventually something will change and we'll all start, figuring this out. But I'm telling you, Trump has stopped 6 different wars or things from happening already. The monks are, 70,000 monks or whatever it was, 30,000 monks have broke their vow of silence. I mean, to say thank you, Donald Trump, for making peace, in their area. So, I mean, but yet he's so evil, he's bad, or whatever. It's politics. Politics sucks. And
politics suck. Yeah,
they do. I hate politicians. I do. But I think he's the lesser of the politician. He's not a politician. That's why he says all the crazy shit he says, because he's not afraid to say it. He just doesn't say anything you want to hear. He says a lot of shit you don't want to hear. But, and I know he knows a lot more stuff, and he's very good at keeping secrets. He just doesn't blur things out. So I have to lay my trust into him, regardless of what anybody thinks, because I just feel he's the lesser of both evils, period.
Well, and now it doesn't matter. I mean, because he's the president. He's the president for the next 3 years. So it is what it is, right? I mean, so it's like people have to realize they don't have control over everything. And I think a lot of it is that people are miserable and they seek control. They seek validation. They don't have enough going on in their own life, you know, that they zone in on this thing. Like just some people that I have met, just hearing the name Trump makes them seethe with freaking rage. And I'm like, I couldn't live like that. And you know, I really didn't like him in the first term because there was just everything was just crazy. And there was a lot that I didn't even understand or realize at the time the media was doing to make him look bad. And when I looked back and reviewed footage of things that happened and actually watched all the footage and not just the clips that they would show you, and I was like, whoa, man, like we were taken for a ride. And not only that, but I've learned a lot about editing and how things are curated. And I'm like, that's exactly what they were doing. In a lot of instances, they were pretending that he said things like the very fine people on both sides, that whole thing. Sure. And you listen
Suckers
to the whole thing.
All that.
Yep.
But
when you listen to the whole thing, you're like, oh, that's not what he said at all.
I know, but here's the saddest part. I would see Biden time and time again come up and say the same shit, verifying that he said it the way in the negative way. And I'm going, this is a president of the United States feeding bullshit to people. I mean, that's
Obama did it. Obama did it on the campaign.
He's smooth.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't believe that this guy, and he was chastising like certain black voters that didn't feel comfortable voting for Kamala, telling them what's wrong with you. And I was like, this is disgusting. Like, you're telling people how to vote because of their race? Like, what is this, the 50s? Like,
he had little validity this time around. Like, people just didn't care what he had to say this time around. But the first 2 terms I voted for him twice because I thought he'd make a difference. It took the last quarter of his term to where I finally, from friends dripping on me slowly, going, dude, he's not what it seems. He's just the public figure, and he's smooth. He talked really good, the yes we can and all this kind of crap. Farthest from the truth. He made more racial division between the blacks and this and that, and did least amount of things for the black community and this and that than Trump ever did. I mean, Trump's done more for the black community than Obama could ever do. Things like that. Again, lies, propaganda, things aren't what they seem. Just propaganda, feeding us with bullshit. And I think people are becoming much more educated now, but there's still a long way to go for a lot of people, unfortunately.
And it's tough because there's always going to be people on both sides. I was saying recently on my show that the horseshoe effect is real. The people on the far left, the people on the far right, to me, are one and the same. They have one way of thinking about something. There's no talking them out of it. There's no nuance to the conversation, and they're very, very selfish in the way they think. And so when I see people on the far right going crazy, I'm like, you sound like a leftist. And when there's people on the far left going crazy, I'm like, you sound like a right-wing KKK member. And I say it on purpose because it really pisses them off. But it's true.
I will switch in a heartbeat if they start going awry. I mean, but unfortunately, again, the Republican side now has become more democratic than the Democrats, and therefore,
which is incredible.
I know. I wouldn't believe, and believe me, there's a lot of these Republican politicians that got to go. They need to go. Mm-hmm. You know, the O'Connell and Lindsey whatever, Lindsey Graham's and
Lindsey Graham,
yeah, Two-Face. I have video of him saying how fine Joe Biden is, and then the minute Trump started going back into coming into office, Trump is wonderful. He's just such an ass kisser. And again, I don't trust these people. There are good and bad, but the good thing is, I mean, Trump learned a lot from his first round being president. He admits he made a lot of mistakes relying on people telling him who to rely on. and he's still having to go and weed through the crowd because there's still a lot of people that are, from the old regime that he's having to weed through, but he's got a lot more people that he can trust now than he did before. And I think he's got a bigger grip, and people are so impatient. It's like, when is he going to do this? When is he going to do that? It's like, it's been 6 months, people. It's been 6 months and he's done a whole lot. Shut the fuck up. It's real simple. Yeah. The 6 months, there's everything is upside down. It's like the man doesn't sleep. And then I saw a picture. They tried to say he was sleeping during a conference or something like that. It was a photo. It was a photo that I guess they caught when his eyes were closed during a blink. And they said he's sleeping. It's like, that man, say anything you want to say, but that man does not sleep. He's trying to figure out how to fix this and how to fix that, good or bad, as opposed to an administration past that didn't try to fix anything. They just kept the chaos, keep printing money and putting us deeper in debt.
Well, and how uncreative too, because think about how Joe Biden really did fall asleep places. I mean, he really actually fell asleep and really did have a hard time getting going for the day. It was obvious, especially in the second part of his term. And now they're turning around and they're trying to paint that same picture for Trump. And I noticed that.
I mean, anything but that. Pick a different way of him going down, but not.
Yeah, it's like. I mean, can we come up with something else, please? If you want to hate him, find real dirt.
They have nothing. See, that's the problem. They have nothing. Even this whole thing with the Epstein, he's on the list. It's like this and that. He's done nothing wrong. And again, why they're hiding it, that's probably a whole
other story. Oh my God, yeah.
They can't pin anything on him because I heard from gangsters too. There was New York, the mob and all that with construction. Everybody's got to pay off the mob to do everything in New York, and they were saying that Trump would never go on the take. He would never, and he was the biggest builder in New York City, and they said they tried to get him in, and he would never take to go with the mob or however that worked. He was just always squeaky clean. Did he make mistakes? Sure, I'm sure he did. And then you got people say, well, he filed for bankruptcy and this and that. He had a million businesses going on. Something's going to go into bankruptcy. It happens all the time. Unfortunately, we're just pointing and sticking our fingers at Trump. You know what I mean? He's built the whole skyline in New York.
Well, and the other thing about him too, the thing about him that I actually think was his best quality as far as business is concerned, to me, was the marketing and how he reinvented himself when he did bankrupt the casino, and it was this whole thing. And he could give the illusion of having money even if he didn't have a dime. And he reinvented himself with The Apprentice and all that, and that aspect and part of his life kind of remolded what Trump was all about. He was very, very good at that. He was always a couple steps ahead. And people that don't like him have never taken the time to look into his past. And it's not all good. It's not all great. There are things about that man that I'm like, what an asshole. But at the same time, I want to know all of it. I want to know the whole thing. I don't want to just know good things. I want to know bad things. I want to know it all. And then I make my decision about what I think and how I feel about it. But these people that are extremists in the TDS part of it, they can't sit down and even have a conversation about it without flipping out. It drives me crazy. I don't even bother with some people anymore because I'm like, you know what? I'm not trying to convince anybody to love him. I'm not trying to convince anybody that he's wonderful. I'm just trying to get people to chill out.
Personally, I don't want a nice guy in office. I mean, we got it's a mean, hard world out there. Biden, whatever, he won or was put in there because he didn't run the show. Wait till they get behind. Again, it's so deep and so dark of who really runs this country in the first place. And that's the problem. They know with Trump, he doesn't go along with all that shit. And that's why they tried to kill him. And that's why they've tried everything they possibly can, because it's going to interfere with the plans of this one, new world order and all under one and socialism and all that kind of stuff, which, one hair at a time, they were yanking out of everybody's head so that you don't feel it until it's too late. And then we're all, dependent on them. And Trump isn't going for it. And that's why. But you got people, they've just taught him to hate him, and that's just the way it's going to be for a while. forever,
Right.
maybe.
Oh,
Anyway.
probably forever.
Let's talk about your show a little bit more here. I mean,
Sure.
even though you talk about a lot of this stuff, how often do you do your show, and how do you do it, and where is it at?
So everything I'm doing right now is pretty much pre-recorded. So I'm in a place where I find topics to discuss. I do a lot of reaction videos and try to get feedback from my audience too. Like, I try not to, I give my opinion, but I want to know, I mean this genuinely. I want to know what people think. And I want to know sometimes, am I off base about this? Am I crazy? So I do the show, it varies. There are it depends on how much editing I need to do. But there are weeks where I can pump out 3 shows. There are weeks where I only pump out 1. And I don't just do reactions or certain topics. I also do interviews. I've interviewed a number of trans people. I've had Buck Angel on my show. I've had the middle gay on my show. I've featured some friends over on TikTok and kind of highlighted and showcased some of the garbage that they go through over in that platform. A lot of homophobia over there, believe it or not. So it's crazy. On TikTok.
Oh,
actual homophobia.
I don't know. I see it, but I don't see anybody bashing them. I watch a lot of videos, because I want to see what's going on. But I never noticed the homophobia. Go ahead.
It's subtle. It's sort of it's this whole idea that somehow these new age trans, queer, whatever they are, people have now thought up this thing that it's a choice again to be gay. It's a preference. And people that are the OGs of the LGB are like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, after everything we went through to deal with this, you're turning around and saying it's a choice. And the reason they're saying it's a choice is because gender ideology and sexual and your sexual orientation are at odds. They clash. They can't get along, because in order for that ideology to be real, it kind of has to override sexual orientation. They put gender identity in front of sexual orientation now. So you appear very homophobic in the way you speak and the way you talk. And that is allowed to go on, believe it or not, over in TikTok. They love that over there. They think that's great. I don't know why, but it flies. It's crazy. So I do a lot of that. I've actually interviewed a couple of detransitioners. I think I said I had Buck Angel on my show. I finally got him to come over to my side, which was really cool to do. And so I'm kind of, I want to expand even more in terms of, talking about just whatever sometimes. All this stuff is so freaking heavy. And I think even some of my viewers are like, oh, God, we have to do this again. As far as just some of the stuff that I find on the internet that I'm like, where do you see this crap? So
do you do your do you have a certain schedule, or you just release them whenever you want to release them?
I release them whenever I can. So it's sometime during the week, usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I have gotten to a habit of doing Friday nights. A release then. On the weekends, I'm usually just releasing shorts, just kind of from the week, things that, just the reels or the clips from different shows I did during the week. So
how I long for that type of freedom. It's like, just do it when you want, put it out, and people are still paying attention. I want to say one thing. Your crowd, whoever's tuned into you tonight, and is watching up from your channel, because we're simulcasting right now, for those of you who don't know, I want to congratulate you, because all these comments are all from your side of the fence. In the beginning, there's a few people of mine saying hello, but I told you, I have the greatest lurkers. Pay attention, Peter G Show fans that I love very much, but look at all these people commenting, and they're all, from Vikki's side, just, taking part of the conversation. Good and bad, funny, sad, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, there's a ton of friggin' comments all here, and there's a lot of people from the same, but they're taking part of it. So congratulations. I'm sure they probably do that on your show as well, right?
They do. And I've noticed that a lot of the people that people came from different platforms, and a lot of what I did, especially in the beginning when I was first starting to grow the channel, is I started to network with other channels, and I would get on their show and talk to them. So some of them came from Buck Angel, some of them came from this Bohemian gal, Rogan Smith. She's wonderful person, has a great channel, fantastic human being too, might I add. And Jessica Gill from Jubilee. So I've kind of networked a lot and casted a net. The Panic Button, that's another one. Really great show. And so I've just met so many great people, and it's attracted a lot of great people to the show. And I think what people want to see these days is they don't want to see fake stuff. They want to see real people having real talk. And they don't want the charades. They don't want the BS. And I think that's why people like you are successful too, because you don't give anybody any BS. You say it how it is and what you think. And if you don't like it, well, you're not beholden to the show. Go someplace else, So
true, but they're entitled to their opinion too, and I appreciate them for at least watching and then telling me they don't like it. But the one advantage of the live thing is you managed to get people to take time out of their lives tonight and watch basically this show with you on it, on your page, and they're commenting and took the time out of their lives. So I think that's, I applaud you and the people that you draw on, that they give a shit enough to watch you, to watch me, talk to you, and hopefully giving them something that is, satisfying to them as of, doing what we do. Basically, I mean, that means a lot. That really does. It speaks loudly. I mean, you're a year into this, and again, I have a whole different kind of crowd. I started out doing nothing but phone calls, wanting people from Facebook to talk about their troubles, because they tell about it on Facebook all day long. Prayers for my mother, my papa's dying, surgery for somebody. And I just said, just call in on the show. Let's just talk about it, because you need to let it out. You're holding it in. That's why they say it all on Facebook. They just want to be heard. And I was doing really good like that. And then I started shifting gears with guests and this and that. And I got away from the phones. And now trying to get the phone back to where people will call in, I think that ship has sailed, but who knows? I'll just keep on trying every once in a while. But I mean, this is what we do. But you've been doing it for a year. I'm really proud of you. This is what I want to ask you. So now that this takes up more time in your life, how's your marriage doing?
Oh goodness. So things are going really well. And Lisa's really busy too with her job and with her stuff. And so what's great though is that she goes out to work and I'm home most of the time. I have another gig that I do outside of this. And so after I'm done with that is when I make time to do this. So I get the recording done, the shooting done, the interviews done, and then it's just down to editing time. So if we're sitting in front of the TV or something, or if we're having some downtime, just hanging out at the house, that's when I'll do the editing, things like that. And but I haven't, she's been so supportive. That sign behind me there that says Voices with Vikki, she gave me that.
Yeah, but that was in the beginning. I just wanted to know now, once it's all settled in, because let's face it, this takes a lot of time.
It does. Yeah.
A lot of time.
She's very happy for me.
Good.
And she is fully on board with it. We've talked about even having her come on the show for a guest appearance at some point too. So, it's becoming kind of a little family business. So we collab about it sometimes and talk about it and what should I do? And she's given me a lot of ideas and, so it's been good. It's been good overall. And it's not always perfect. It's not always easy. There's times where she's like, really? Like tonight, really? So it's just kind of working out those kinks and finding the balance.
That's it. And Liz just chimed and says, we must meet her. There you go. We must meet her. Well, the only reason I want to ask is because, again, I know how much time this takes. I'm literally the guy that gets out of bed and I used to hear it. It's like, do you have to? It's like, now it's like, whatever. And, we're going to go do this. It's like, I can't. I got to do this. And they go, it's just boring, Peter, work. But I love what I do. And I want to take this so much further. And to me, it's just like getting a record deal. Until you have that that deal with, the greatest songs that people want to hear. You just got to keep writing those songs, and it may take 10 years, it could take forever or never. But I'd rather keep going and trying than to just, because I want to go to the beach or something. It's like, I've been to the beach, I love the beach, I'll figure it out, but this is important to me because if people are taking their times out of their life to watch you or me, I'm going to try to, give them something that they're going to say, well, that was all right. I mean, some don't think that, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you how she felt, because again, it all sounds good in the beginning, just like, a new relationship. But when you get down to the nitty gritty and the bigger you get, unless you can afford to have people working for you and doing all your media and this and that, it takes a lot of time. Depends how extreme you want to go. That's why you said I put it out when I put it out. I'm on a schedule like a machine.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but I'm on a schedule like a machine because that's the way I put it together. And I wish I could just, I'll throw it out when I want to. I've gotten people used to this, like, hey, Wednesday, be here, and I'm not going to let them down. And then you can watch everything on demand, just like anything else. But I just wanted to ask you about that. Okay, so you do all your shows and you just put them out there, and you put them out on what? YouTube, Instagram? No, are your full shows on Instagram or what?
No, I usually just put clips and reels on Instagram, and I do, just a little like thumbnail that says, hey, this has come out, or this is premiering at this time, or whatever. And I put it on the stories, circulate it around.
For YouTube?
Oh no, I'm sorry. For Instagram, I do that.
Yeah, right, but you send people to YouTube to see your shows. I mean, where do you consider home base?
Home base is definitely YouTube. That's definitely the main drag for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. And then you are doing TikTok, you said, and Facebook, and what else? Anything else there?
X too. I'm on all the platforms. I don't utilize some of them as much as I probably should, but it's a lot, as you know. And so I kind of, my focus has been YouTube, and that's had the most growth so far. And it's, you can find me anywhere. You can contact me anywhere. You can talk to me wherever you want. I wanted to have that availability and just at least have the opportunity for an audience on other platforms, because I know not everybody uses everything. So, but YouTube is where it's at for if you really want to see the full show or get to know Voices with Vikki and what it's all about. That's where you're going to want to go, is YouTube.
All right, so we can find Vikki, anywhere, but basically you want to see the full shows. Basically, if you Google Voices with Vikki, you're going to find Vikki, on anywhere. The more content you put out there, the more easier it is to find you. I mean, that much I knew. I was doing it the hard way, and I said I'm going to put out a lot of content, because that way you just you're everywhere, and if they Google you, they can find you. It's just that simple. But it takes a lot of time, and there's platforms like Instagram. I can't get arrested on Instagram. Same thing with like X. I don't know why, and I put out thousands of pieces of content, and I just can't pick up momentum on those places, but I just keep on putting it anyway, because one day it'll probably change. But until then, I'm just not going to give up on it. I put it out there. To me, if it's two people that really give a shit and care about what I'm putting out, it's worth it to me. So.
Instagram's tough. There's like a weird shadow ban thing going on with me too. I got so far, and then the numbers just keep going boop 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 boop. Like it's strange. I don't know why I can't break into that algorithm more, but I probably have to try something different.
They're all strange. I mean, they all have changed a lot too, and they continually keep changing as to what is cool and who is accepted and who is not accepted. And I don't pay to play, and I'm not going to pay to play. I mean, I've always been like that. When I was growing in the Los Angeles, music scene, all these bands playing the Whiskey and the Roxy and all that, you sell tickets and you're paying to play. It's like, I never went for that shit. It's like, if I can't play and get paid to play over there because you want me there, it's like, I don't need to be there, and it's just that same thing going on with me now. I guess I grew up on that mentality. Either I'm worth it to you or I'm not. And that's it. This came to me. Hang on.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is for you. I'm going to give you what I feel might be a major advantage and or tip for you. Okay. Now, once once again, what the hell do I know? Okay, that much I've learned. It's like I don't know a friggin' when I see things that I think are going to not be hot and they explode and take off, it really brings you. It's very humbling. It's like I quit guessing what's going to be big and what's not going to be big. But however, and I hope you take this. I want you to take this really serious because I truly believe this might be an advantage for you. But you got to be open-minded. Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh God.
I know. See, hang on. Hang with me. All right. You need to hang on to this. Okay.
Okay.
I see a lot of her lately. She's so fucked up. I mean, she is mentally ill. But she's wealthy, and so she can. Yep. Look, here's your buddy Liz. I said Rosie. Correct. Okay. Rosie. I gotta. Let me find this. Rosie O'Donnell. I was thinking about it, and this just popped in again. This was another 2 nights ago. I jumped out of bed and wrote this down so I didn't forget because it just call me crazy. But I think let me get let's get a picture of her. Where the hell is she at? All right, bear with me now. Again, I need you to open your mind because this might not make sense to you now, but I think you could do really, really well with this. I think and I don't want you to take this the wrong way either. I just think you have the potential to mimic her. To do it. If you could find
gotta get the glasses, and I gotta do the hair.
I think you need. Well, her hair's longer now. But I think she's so fucked up. If you could look at that smile, that's her smile. If you could, there you go. Listen to, I'm dead serious. If you could do parodies of her, I know. But if you could do parodies of her, like a little extra something, and take what she says and then do it yourself, and get the accent right. And I think
she's from New York too. I could get. Yeah, she's got the thing back there where she talks like that.
Yeah, and you got to watch it. And she's with this illness. I'm listening to her. And it's like, oh my God. And she says, I was losing my mind. And if you could parody her, because I just think there's enough of you that could almost like, if you do it correctly, you'd be very convincing. I mean, as a younger, but that doesn't even. I'm not saying you even look like her, but I just have this feeling like your tone of voice. And if you put the glasses on and do the body language and all that, I think you could probably really explode, at least for and bring in more people just from that alone. But it may take
you might be right. Yeah.
Just let it simmer. I'm not saying you have to accept what I'm saying, but I think of weird shit that works because you see these people the one that did the Kamala Harris parody, and
she was hilarious.
Of course she was. And I think that Rosie is the perfect topic because she's so friggin' nuts. And I just thought about it. I think your voice, more than anything, I'm not saying your voice is like hers, but it is kind of like hers in a younger version. And I think with the round glasses, and if you made the facial expressions and you worked on it enough on watching her and talking about the same shit she's talking about, you'd be great. But what do I know?
She is... Gosh, the misery I have to subject myself to.
But it'll be worth it because it's like, who the hell is, she's so irrelevant, but yet she's forcing it down our throats on being relevant. But again, that's and look what $80 million will get you. I mean, even she can have a better looking girlfriend. That's what 80 million, she's worth about 80 million, which I would, she's very, very lucky. That's all I can say.
She looks all right in that picture, but
that's probably from 2022, I think. Whatever. It's just her mental status is what makes her so ugly.
Makes her look so awful. Yeah. Oh my God.
She's deranged. She hates the orange man. She moved to Ireland and now she wants to be accepted in Ireland, and they don't even give a shit either. She did some play or something just recently. I've just been watching her and it popped into my head. I go, I think if you worked at it, whether you put your baseball cap on or just the glasses, you could do this. And just dropping that seed in you, because it may be a gimmick, but it's entertainment. and that would draw your crowd. And I just think you could do it. I think you got it in you.
I'm gonna put that in my back pocket and think about it. Yeah.
Don't wait too long, because she's going to go away eventually. It could be 2 years from now. It could be 2 months from now. But I would start watching her, even though it's kind of hard to watch, and just go practice in the mirror and find those glasses. You got to find those round,
round glasses. Yeah.
You could find reading glasses like that, or take the for at the 99-cent store or the Dollar Tree or whatever. But do something very similar to that, and just get her mouth down and her cracked smile and the faces she makes when she's talking about this shit. I think you could pull it off, but again, call me crazy. What do I know?
I'd have to maybe get a wig or something, like a grayish. I don't know. I'd have to look into it, but
you could put powder in your hair. I don't know. I thought about that too.
Yeah.
I just think I would start with the glasses and getting the facial and the voice down, and then take it from there. That will evolve and get better and better if you practice. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. I just think that would be a major plus, because she's nuts. She's a lesbian, but she's a nuts lesbian, and people are just getting sick of hearing her. But it'd be interesting seeing it from somebody else. Nobody's doing her.
And it used to be that, like, she was, like, I don't know, back in the League of Their Own days, she was pretty cool. She was hanging out with Madonna. Like, what the hell?
She's just a loudmouth now, and on top of that, she's getting sicker and sicker. Like, her train of thought, when you hear her talking, it's so deep about, you can just feel this illness, and she needs medications and stuff like that to keep her on track. I just say give it some thought, and I'll leave it at that. I just wanted to plant the seed publicly, so if it came out and I think you would do a great job. It's just going to take a little bit of convincing to yourself and some practice, and I think you'll get better and better at it. I just hear it in your voice. I do, not in a bad way. I think that if you derange it like her, you'll get people like on the Instagrams and the TikToks and all that kind of shit, making these 1 minute little things. You'll be bringing in a crowd. I wish I could do it. Unfortunately, nobody wants to look like me, so I got nobody to do a parody on. That's it. But look, I want to thank you for coming on the show and talking about the thing. Well, and thank your crowd too. Let me go back to that. I had to leave all that because I wanted to show these pictures. But all these people that are commenting, and they're all yours. And so I think you got a lot to be. You should be proud of yourself. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. And again, I've seen some people take off within months, and some people it's a lifetime of work to get to where you want to go. If you ever get to where you want to go, I think the key is love what you're doing. And I told you that, a long time ago. And if you love what you're doing, it's worth it.
I do, and it's definitely evolved into something. And I wouldn't keep doing it if I didn't have people like this that showed up for me tonight too. I don't think, how could you? You got to have some kind of audience to speak to and to get feedback from. So I feel very, very lucky to have that. Yeah.
Well, again, you can get two people doing the exact same thing, and one can take off, and another. I just don't know. Again, it's all about delivery. It comes from within you. Throughout my whole musical career, I used to have people saying, "Dude, you missed your calling," because they said you should have been a comedian. And because I used to love cracking up. I mean, making jokes on everything, seeing something and taking it and turning it into a joke. And they used to say, "Everything's a joke to you, dude." It's like, yeah, it kind of is. You know what I mean? I'm very serious in a funny way. That's the front of me laughing at it. But when it's time to be serious, I'm serious. But I'd rather laugh than cry. And so for years, and all of a sudden now at this age, the music business was taking a dump. My divorce stopped me from, or at least I chose to stop because I had a child that I wanted to make sure I was next to and help and raise. And it came into this, and it's like, okay, I'm pretty much on that path after a whole journey of, being a musician all my life. And maybe this is, who knew, whatever, maybe my friends were right. Even though I was a good musician, I love doing this. I truly do, especially bouncing off of people. And I do have some shows where I have funny people on. I have some people that are serious topics, but we try to find a laugh and some information on every show. So again, I'm glad you love what you're doing, and your wife's not, on board with you, because that's a big deal. If they don't like what's going on, happy wife, happy life.
Exactly.
I hate to use that adage, but it's kind of true. But at the same time, you can't be a wuss either. It's like you got to be you, because if you keep on bending only for the other half, you're just a mere shell of a person. You know what I mean? Just keep pleasing somebody else. It's got to be a two-way street. But you're doing it. You're good. You put them up when you put them up. People want to see Voices with Vikki. You can find her on YouTube or just Google Voices with Vikki. And again, we'll check in another time and see how life goes. I mean, God willing. Time's flying. I mean, this year has gone by real quick. And since I talked to you last, and we'll see what happens. I mean, because no matter what I want to hear next year, I want to see you doing those Rosie O'Donnell parodies. That's what I want to do. Your watch.
We'll see.
Well, talk about it with your wife, and I mean, I don't knock it. I mean, just open your mind a little bit. It can only get better. I wouldn't have said this if I didn't believe what you can pull it off. That's all. Because I just want to see you explode with that. And I'll go, look at that shit, because people love funny. They love that stuff. So anyway, all right, listen. Thank your audience. Wave to everybody, and we'll see you when we see you. You'll be featured during the short clips for the rest of the week, and I'll share them with you. Then you can share them with your audience. And again, I want to thank your audience for watching us very much. Very, very cool. You're very lucky, because I'm telling you, I have a great audience, but they're just the silent. They just love. They love to watch. Take that any way you want.
The lurkers.
Yeah, they're my lurkers. But they're my lurkers, and some of them.
Voyeurism.
Yeah, but I'm all for no harm, no foul, whatever. It's all good. So long as they're watching, that's all. But I do wish that they would be more communicative with everything. But I'll take it. But that's it. All right, baby. Thank you very much. And I hope this show, I think we're good. It was kind of fun, and time just flew. So
absolutely. Well, thank you, Peter. I appreciate you taking the time to have me on.
No, I again, just I want to see that Rosie O'Donnell. So that's I know, call me crazy, but that's my job. All right, I'll be talking to you soon. Wave to everybody.
All right, cool. Bye.
Bye. Oh, there I am. Hello from back. I think she can pull off the Rosie O'Donnell thing. I just do. I just think if she works at it and makes that crusty smile of hers and gets the voice down and picks and just copies some of the stupid shit that Rosie O'Donnell says, I think she'll explode. I mean, it's my humble opinion. Anyway, all right, listen, I want to thank everybody for watching. I do. Please, if you enjoyed what you see, again, I don't do my Life of Peter G. The Peter G Show is exactly that. 1 week we're doing this, next week we're doing that. Life is full of choices, and I talk about everything from alcoholism. Next week I'm going to talk about Bill Gates. I need to talk about Bill Gates. I don't think people are aware enough or you're aware of it, but we just let it slide, of just how evil that excuse of a human being is. And I think it's very important that we reiterate a little bit, because I don't see anybody talking about him, and he needs to be talked about. So I'm going to do my part. Next week, August 27th, right here on Life of Peter G, Bill Gates, we're going to talk about him. A lot to be talked about on how he could be so quiet under the radar, be doing so much harm, in my opinion, to our foods, to our medications, to the population and people playing God. So join me next week. If you like what you're seeing on the Peter G Show, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube, the follow button on the official Peter G Show page. It'll notify you when I'm on. It's free. It's harmless. If you want to watch, you can watch. If you don't, you don't. Again, some shows you'll want to watch. Some shows say, I'm not interested. But just stick around so at least you know what I'm going to be talking about, because you never know what you may learn. Again, it's entertainment with a purpose. And most of all, we do talk about a lot of hard topics at times, and people get pissed off, and a lot of people agree with me and a lot of people don't agree with me, and that's totally fine. I'm good with that. But there's a lot of pressure in the world right now. It's been going on, and a lot of people are under pressure, barely making it, having to work several jobs. People are not working. Oh, I forgot to play those videos for her. Damn it. I had videos for her. Anyway, next time. We just got enthralled with all that talk. You know, because it's important stuff. It wasn't. Damn it! I need to stay. That's what happens when I don't. It's an unscripted show. I just go with what we're feeding off of, which is important stuff. Be kind. Lots of people under pressure. You don't know what one is going through when they lash out at you. You just don't. Take a breath before you speak. You don't have to be an ass. You don't have to take a lot of crap from people, but you don't have to be an ass. I mean, it's hard. It's a hard life out there. It is. You walk out the door, you don't know what you're getting into. Some people walk out their door and never come home. Be grateful. I'm thankful for every day I wake up. Good or bad, whatever's going to happen in the day, I woke up, I was alive, I got to have another day. Not everybody gets that. So be grateful. Try to be. Don't forget, we're here every Wednesday. Life of Peter G, The Peter G Show, every Wednesday, like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. And if you miss the shows, if you miss a show, it's really simple. Just watch it on demand. A lot of people love to watch my shows live, but you can catch all the shows on YouTube Live, on the live part of YouTube, not on the video part, but the live part of YouTube. You can catch them on demand anytime you want. And what we got here? Oops. Let's see. Holly Hagan, thank you. Let's see. Oh, look. Hi, Holly. Thank you. And what else we got here? Thank you, everyone. That's from Vikki. Vikki says, thank you, everyone. And I wish I could have gotten to a lot of these comments, but there's the middle gay, too, right? She talked about him. He's watching. Hey, middle gay. Hey. See? Simple. Hey, just simple hey. Now we just heyed back. Hey. Let's see. And thank you, Peter. I wish I could have gotten to a lot of these because they were all really good comments, you know. There really wasn't any hate in here tonight. That was nice. And I think the hate is not even hate. I think some people just like to push buttons. But all really great. So be proud of yourselves. Uh-oh. Now I got to figure out where that one is. Be proud of yourselves. Where is that? Oh, ooh, I just saw it. There we go. Be proud of yourselves. Life is short, all right? Enjoy it, and that's it. We'll see you next week when we talk about Bill Gates. Join me, because I may bring up some things you may want to hear, or may not. Up to you, but I'm going to bring it out anyway, all right? Be cool. Enjoy your week. I love you guys, and peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single